I have been playing a lot of Tekken 8 and I am absolutely addicted. I am super excited for the future of this game. DLC and future updates are an inevitability, and with how successful Tekken 7 was because of its guest characters, you can bet your ass that Tekken 8 will get some too. So, naturally, I thought it would be fun to create a wish list for the 8 guest characters I want to see in Tekken 8. Don't want to waste any of your time, so let's begin. I know Akuma rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in the Tekken competitive community, and there would be a collective uproar if he were ever to be included in anything Tekken related ever again. But to me, he was flawlessly executed. One game that I have been waiting for and will continue to have faith in the fact that it will happen one day until the day I die is Tekken Cross Street Fighter. And since that game has been on the back burner for so long, Akuma in Tekken 7 was a perfect demonstration to show what Tekken Cross Street Fighter could potentially be. And with Tekken 8, I would love to see another character archetype that isn't a Shoto from Street Fighter show up, and who better than Chun-Li, the first lady of fighting games. I am very biased. She is my favorite fighting game character ever, no matter what game she's in. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Power Rangers. She's always so much fun to use because her fighting style is so flexible. I don't think that would be any different in Tekken either. I mean, I think she would fit pretty well. She has been a hybrid charge character for quite some time now, so it would be interesting to see just how they tackle her charge moves like Kikoken and Spinning Bird Kick. As far as I know, Tekken has never had a charge character because of how the movement system works. So I'm curious to see how they would pull it off, but in the end, please give me Chun-Li, I beg of you. Geese Howard was an amazing addition to Tekken 7. I already said that Akuma was super well translated to 3D, and that sentiment is like 10 times stronger for Geese. I love KOF to death, and seeing a character from that series was so cool to see in Tekken. Yes, I know Geese from Fatal Fury, please don't believe me. And seeing just how he was implemented had me so excited to see more SNK characters in a Tekken format. Actually, even more excited than like Street Fighter characters. Terry, Vanessa, Iori, Kyo, K-Dash, who's my favorite KOF character, but the one I really want to see in Tekken, and thankfully Harada does as well, is Ryuji Yamazaki. This dude is the craziest fighting game psychopath to date. He has powers from a literal god of death, and he's so batshit insane that while everyone else who has the god of death's powers eventually succumbs to his will and struggle to resist the bloodlust that comes with it, Ryuji just does not care. He doesn't use his power to commit genocide in his lord's name or anything like that. He just wields it like a small knife and even tells the death cult to go fuck themselves so he can commit more petty crimes. He is the definition of evil's greatest fear. He's so freaking cool. Aside from just how insanely cool he is, he's also incredibly violent. This dude is stomping on people, smashing them into the ground, headbutting them so hard that it causes an explosion, and even goes Ultra Instinct Luffy on your ass. I wonder how many people I'm going to piss off with that statement. He's extremely unique. There's no other character like him, and given how KOF 15's meter works, it would be very cool to see him in Tekken since he's just such a ruthless brawler with wicked powers. It would also just be, really nice to see a formal Yakuza member join the cast of Tekken. Speaking of Yakuza, by the way, if Kiryu does not get into Tekken 8, he will never get in Tekken, period. This game seems tailor-made for him due to 2 factors. Number 1, Tekken 8 has dynamic intros with certain characters having interactions that are unique to them, like Hwoarang and Jin start off with a kick version of a handshake, while Jin and Lars bump fists really hard. Yakuza has a lot of sick dynamic intros of their own in their games, and they play a huge part in creating so much hype for these battles. Kiryu can have some with like Kazuya or Raven, but the one I would probably want to see the most is Kiryu versus Yamazaki. These 2 Yakuza members on very opposite ends of the morality spectrum would be so hyped to see square off. And number 2, Tekken 8 has a heat system. It is nearly identical to how it functions in Yakuza, and it's even called the exact same thing. The more aggressive you are, the more meter you're able to play with that unlocks new moves and shit. Like, this is perfect for Kiryu to join the roster. 2 of the core pillars of Yakuza are already in Tekken. If they were to include him, I would want him to be his Yakuza Kiwami iteration where he is the most kitted he has ever been. 4 unique styles, all with different moves, speeds, and heat attacks that are unique to each style. I wouldn't mind if they ended up incorporating moves from like Yakuza 5 and 6 and even like a Dragon Gaiden either, but me personally, I would want him to have his styles from the old Yakuza 0 Kiwami days. And why just stop at one RGG character? There's a couple others up for contention like Majima and Akiyama and even Ichiban, which would make sense from a marketing standpoint. But the character I'd want is not from the Yakuza series. He's actually from the Judgment series, and that is Takayuki Yagami, a lawyer/detective who whoops ass in the name of justice, even though he does it as a freelance vigilante. He's a complicated man, okay? But anyways, Kiryu is clearly the most beloved character from RGG, and his inclusion would be a no-brainer, but from a pure gameplay perspective, Yagami is the most fun character to play as in an RGG game. He has a unique brand of kung fu that he taught himself that is improvisational, precise, and just amateur enough to let you know that he isn't someone who is specially trained in any specific martial art. But as I said earlier, he whoops absolute ass, and he would be an amazing addition to the roster. He even has his own version of Heat called EX, and it basically operates the same way as Kiryu. I mean, look at this dude. He's doing straight up electrics. How do you not want him in? Similar to Kiryu, I would love for him to have his 4 styles from Lost Judgment, Tiger, Crane, Snake, and Boxer, which are way more distinct than the 4 Kiryu has. His versatility, acrobatics, and sheer Jackie Chan essence would be perfect for this game. I know, Lei is Tekken's Jackie Chan character already, and I hope he comes back as DLC since he's one of my favorite Tekken characters, but come on, there's no reason they can't coexist. Like, it wouldn't be fucking cool if Lei, Yagami, and Chun-Li were in one game. Another thing I would love to see from either Kiryu or Yagami's inclusion is a Kamurocho stage, but not a typical stage. What I mean by that is that a lot of stages in recent 3D fighters are pretty sanitized for the sake of competition, and that's not a bad thing. Like, Times Square is barricaded off, and it's probably the most beautiful stage in the game. But I would want them to try and do Kamurocho similar to how they did stages in Tekken 4. No overt artificial barricades or anything, just a bunch of objects you can smash people into and through, and you know, have it be the entire city. Let's say you start a fight in Theater Square, and from Theater Square, you and your opponent end up at Children's Park at the end of the round just because you two happen to move in that direction while the fight is happening. Or you start out in front of Millennium Tower and you two duke it out to the point where you reach the tight confines of the Champion District just because one of you kept backdashing through the alleys until you got there. What I am asking for is practically impossible to pull off because there's so much to account for, but it would be so cool to see. Tifa is a no-brainer at this point. Everyone and their mom's mom wants Tifa, and it's easy to see why. Just look at her fight in the FF7 remakes, and you will probably come to the conclusion that, yep, she should be in Tekken. Bandai has already nabbed the likes of 2B and Noctis for their premier 3D fighting games, so their relationship with Square Enix seems pretty strong. Plus, with FF7 Rebirth coming out pretty soon, I mean, yeah, this kind of seems like it will happen. I want a Mortal Kombat character in Tekken. The big 3 of fighting games are Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter and Tekken have collabed a couple of times already. SNK basically gives their characters away to anyone who wants them with little to no hassle at all, but Mortal Kombat is often excluded from having crossovers with Japanese fighting games, and I would love to see that dry spell end. Tekken honestly has a great opportunity to do something that not even Smash was able to do. Tekken cross Street Fighter, cross KOF, cross Mortal Kombat in one game would be fucking historic. From time to time, I watch this Liu Kang versus Kazuya match on YouTube, and I always come away with it saying, damn, I wish Liu Kang was in Tekken. And why wouldn't he be able to? I know the first barrier that would arise for most people is the blood and gore factor and how that wouldn't be in Tekken, but Mortal Kombat isn't solely defined by its blood and gore. Twitter might tell you that Mortal Kombat fans only like Mortal Kombat because of the blood and gore, but that couldn't be further from the truth, at least in my experience. It has a huge cast of characters people love because of how they play, who they are, and how their stories interact with each other. Given that Liu Kang is the new mascot for Mortal Kombat at the moment, his inclusion would make the most sense. And before anyone says, oh, there's already a Bruce Lee character with a huge dragon motif in this game, why do we need another one? Well, 2 things. Number 1, how many Mishimas are in this game again? How many Shotos are in Street Fighter again? How many Roys are in the Roy family again? You'll live, I promise.
Fuck off.
And 2, it doesn't have to be strictly Liu Kang. I just want a Mortal Kombat character. Kitana, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Johnny Cage, Cabal, literally anyone. MK characters are pretty insane compared to most fighting game characters outside of like Guilty Gear. They have some pretty crazy shit, and I would love to see their silly shenanigans translated to a landscape like Tekken. Oh, you thought Akuma was bad? Have fun getting walled out, frozen, 50-50'd from mid-screen, and ice ported by Sub-Zero. A sleeper pick that will never happen if a Mortal Kombat character ever gets in Tekken for me would be Rain, since he's one of my favorite MK characters. I think he would be really dope, but not gonna happen. But yeah, just one Mortal Kombat character. Just one. Remember Negan and how out of left field his inclusion was? I heard a lot of polarizing takes on his inclusion, but he ended up being an extremely fun character that I ended up maining for the rest of the game's life cycle. What's interesting to me is that they got the license to Negan not from Robert Kirkman himself, but from AMC. They got a TV version of a comic book character, and Bandai somehow built a relationship with them. Now I call upon them to use their powerful connections once more. Better Call Saul is an amazing TV show with plenty of characters to choose from. Saul, Howard, Kim, Mike, Gus, and don't you dare sleep on Chuck. But none of them happen to be the character I want. Who I want is the most villainous character to ever grace your screen, and that man is none other than Lalo Salamanca. Lalo is the most charming, ruthless monster I can think of. His overwhelming charisma contrasted by how sinister he is absolutely terrifying. Tony Dalton did an amazing job personifying him in ways that even made the legendary Gus Fring afraid of him. Would the Tekken universe be fearful of a man like Lalo? Absolutely fucking not. He doesn't fight in the show much, he practically has no fighting style, and his signature weapon is a pistol. So, like Negan, they'd have an open canvas to do whatever they want with his moveset. Would it make sense? No. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. I want this collaboration so damn bad, you have no idea. Hashtag Lalo for Tekken. And that's all of the characters I had in mind. Let me know which guest characters you would love to see in Tekken 8. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Join the Discord if you dare. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you all now. Oh shit, I said 8 characters, didn't I? Squilliam Fancy Son.
Promiscuous squiddy, wherever you are, I'm all alone, and it's you that I want.